Hey guys, Rich here. Today in this video, it is now part 2 on the Back to the Future time machine, DeLorean. So it's part 2 on the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future. So we're doing part 2 now. Before I start, make sure you all like the video. So like the video, subscribe. So like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you are alerted when I make the uploads. Alright. Alright. So without any further ado, let's begin. So where I left off to from the last video was on the equipment of the car, of like what it had for like all bits and pieces and accessories and whatnot. So today in this video, yep, I'm gonna be doing the equipment for the vehicle. Which is a lot, but not a colossal lot, but decent enough, like decent amount of info on there. So yeah, so without any further ado, let's get down straight to business. So equipment. So starting off with, first on the list is the flux capacitor. So flux capacitor. Here we go. So a flux capacitor. So the flux capacitor, which consists of a rectangular shaped compartment with three flashing Geisler, I think it's spelled G-E-I, so Geisler tubes, I think. So it's spelled G-E-I-S-S-L-E-R, so Geisler, I think, I don't know. So the flux capacitor, which consists of a rectangular shaped compartment with three flashing Geisler, I can't really pronounce the word, style tubes arranged in a Y, so a letter Y configuration, is described by Doc as what makes time travel possible. The device is the core component of the time machine. As the time machine nears 88 miles an hour, so 88 miles an hour, so 88 miles an hour, light coming from the flux capacitor begins pulsing more rapidly until it becomes a steady stream. Dr. Emmett Brown, or Doc Brown, or just Doc basically, originally conceived the idea for the flux capacitor on November 5th, 1955, when he slipped on the edge of his toilet while hanging a clock in his bathroom and hit his head on a sink. In 1955, Doc had named the flux capacitor the flux compressor, apparently, as shown on 1955 Doc's diagram. So it showed on a diagram from the Doc in 1955 instead of the one from 1985. So it's a 30-year difference. A similar flux capacitor is also seen in the chimney headlamp of Doc's second time machine, the time machine locomotive at the end of Back to the Future Part 3, 1990. So it was the final film at the very start of the very early 90s. Although the films don't describe exactly how the flux capacitor works, Doc mentions at one point, Doc mentions at one point that the stainless steel body of the DeLorean time machine A.K.A. CRES, so CRES, also known as a corrosion resistant steel. So yeah, although the films don't describe exactly how the flux capacitor works, Doc mentions at one point that the stainless steel body of the DeLorean time machine has both a direct and influential effect on the flux dispersal, but he's interrupted before he can before he can before he can finish the explanation. The explanation is finished in Back to the Future's or BTTF's DeLorean Time Machine, Doc Brown's owner's workshop manual, which says, however, the stainless steel construction of the DeLorean would serve to make the flux dispersal uniform across the entire surface area of the vehicle. The instruction manual for the AMT slash or aluminum model toys, AMT slash ERTL. Ain't really sure what ERTL stands for. This is basically a company name, so I don't really know what it actually stands for. So I'm not too sure what ERTL stands for. DeLorean model kit also states, because the car's stainless steel body improves the flux dispersal generated by the flux capacitor, and this in turn allows the vehicle's smooth passage through the space-time continuum. Now we got what I think is my favorite gizmo, the time circuits, which I quite like. The time circuits are an integral part of the DeLorean time machine. So the time circuits are an integral part of the DeLorean time machine. They are built with an input device, so both an input device and a display. The display will divide in three so the display will divide. The display was divided. I can't even talk. The display was divided into three sections: destination time, shown in red, which tells you like where you're going to; the present time, or I call future time, it shows in green, like whereabouts you are at the moment; and last time departed, shown in yellow, is like it tells you like where you've been before, like where you were, all annotated with Dymo labels. Each display includes a month, a day, a year, and the hour and minute. And the hour and minutes in that point in time. The years on the time circuits were limited to 4 digits. So 4 digits. I can't talk. 4 digits, and there were no possible negative. Negative years that could be reached in English, like, or i.e. years before 0 AD or like 1 BC. This means the DeLorean could travel to any time from 12 a.m. on January 1st, 1 BC, to 12 p.m. on December 31st, AD 9999. God, I wonder what that would be like. I bet it's going to be with all dinosaurs and all that stuff with that kind of a year. And all that kind of stuff. Like, I can't really explain probably, but oh well. You probably know what I mean. Like, at that point in time, it would everything be like futuristic, really, you know. Holograms, like electric, you know, aliens probably, all that kind of stuff. Flying cars. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not really sure if it would have that in like the proper future, but oh well. I mean, we are in the future, by the way, 2024, soon 2025. But what am I for us to find out? Probably, I don't know. Anyways, the destination time display shows the dates that the operator wants the DeLorean to go to. When the operator types in a date using the keypad in the DeLorean, it will be shown in the destination time display. The present time display shows the DeLorean's current location in time, and the last time departed display shows what point in time the DeLorean originally was after making a journey through time. Doc demonstrates demonstrates its capabilities to Marty. So Doc was played by Christopher Lloyd, and Marty was played by Michael J. Fox. Say Michael J. Fox, which he's actually like, I don't think he's gonna be portraying as Marty McFly because Michael has Parkinson's disease. So if there was a fourth Back to the Future film, I'm not saying there will be, but if there was, then probably they would have different characters for both Marty and Doc, because the rumors might suggest Tom Holland might be portraying as Marty McFly, as seen in like the teaser trailers. I'm not too sure, but possibly we'll find out if they're gonna probably make the movie. I'm not too sure, but hey, long way to find out. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so Doc demonstrated its capabilities to Marty after its first test, giving two well-known but erroneous dates as examples. So the signing of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, and the birth of Christ, December 25th, 0000. Sounds like Jesus was born on Christmas Day, I think. Maybe? I think it was, probably. So the birth of Jesus Christ on December 25th, 0000. He also displayed the date that he first conceived on the flux capacitor, by which he marks the day he invented time travel, November 5th, 1955. As he explains to Marty in the beginning of the first film. During the second film, because of Biff Tannen's, played by Thomas F. Wilson. So during the second film, because of Biff Tannen's tampering following his theft on the DeLorean, the time circuits began malfunctioning, displaying January 1st, 1885. So January 1st, 1885. In the destination time display. A bolt of lightning, I can't even talk properly. A bolt of lightning triggers the malfunction to send the DeLorean from 1955 to 1885, so 70 years behind. And that was the year the car was even invented, at 1885 by Carl Benz. A bolt of lightning triggers the malfunction to send the DeLorean from 1955 to 1885. Though the vehicle was in midair, the spin created by the lightning bolt allowed it to reach 88 miles an hour. Dom is trapped in 1885, and repairs were impossible because the time circuit control microchip, which governed the time circuits, was destroyed by the lightning bolt. So it was destroyed by the lightning bolt, and suitable replacement parts would not be invented until at least 1947. So that's 2 years after the Second World War. Say 1947. Doc places repair instructions. So repair instructions and a schematic diagram in the time machine to enable his 1955 counterparts. To repair it using components from that era, which included vacuum tubes. Before boarding it up within a silver mine, he then writes Marty a letter explaining the situation and places it in the custody of Western Union. So yeah, Western Union with instructions to deliver it to Marty in 1955. Next equipment we've got is Mr. Fusion. So another one of my favorite upgrades, as I call it. The Mr. Fusion home energy reactor is the name of a power source. So of a power source used by the DeLorean time machine in the Back to the Future trilogy, or franchise as I call it. It could be seen for the first time at the end of Back to the Future. So at the end of the first movie, Back to the Future 1, 1985, say 1985, When Doc pulls into the McFly's driveway after a trip to the year 2015, God, I missed the year 2015. It's a parody of Mr. Coffee machines, which were very popular at the time of filming. The appliance from which the prop was made was actually a Krupp's Kafina, so Krupp's, K-R-U-P-S, Kafina, so K-O, not K, sorry, so Kafina, C-O, there we go, F-F-I-N-A model coffee grinder. The Mr. Fusion home the Mr. Fusion home energy reactor converts household waste to power for the time machine's flux capacitor and time circuits using nuclear fusion, presumably cold fusion. In the film, Mr. Fusion allows the DeLorean time machine to generate the required 1.21 gigawatts needed to 1.21 gigawatts of electricity needed to travel to any point in time. The energy produced by Mr. Fusion replaces plutonium as the primary power source of the DeLorean's time travel, allowing the characters to bypass the arduous power generation requirements upon which the plot of the first film hinges. The plutonium fission reactor was most likely left installed underneath Mr. Fusion as a backup power source. The Mr. Fusion can provide enough power to the flux capacitor and the time circuits, but is not used to power up the DeLorean. But is not used to power up the DeLorean itself, which makes use of an ordinary gasoline combustion. So, which makes use of an ordinary ordinary gasoline powered internal combustion engine to reach the 88 mile an hour speed necessary. So the 88 mile an hour speed necessary for it to time travel. This limitation proved crucial in the third movie. So in the third and final film, third film, when both Doc and Marty find themselves stuck in 1885 and unable to drive the DeLorean due to a ripped fuel line. And also the fuel injection manifold blew up in the back with like the strongest amount of substance from the bartender. Like probably was whiskey because that's like the strongest, I think, liquid. I'm not too sure. I got no idea. So the limitation proved crucial in the third and final movie, when Doc and Marty find themselves stuck in 1885 and unable to drive the DeLorean due to a ripped fuel line. The vehicle's hover system is powered by Mr. Fusion, and is capable of bringing the DeLorean up to the required 88 miles an hour. So 88 miles an hour. However, the flight systems are destroyed. As a result of the lightning strike that occurs at the end of the second film in 1989 when it was filmed. Second film, leaving Marty to rely on the original combustion engine, which is also disabled. Now we got other equipment. Besides the flux capacitor, the time circuits, and the Mr. Fusion chamber, the DeLorean has numerous other equipment that aid its ability to function. A keypad used to type in a target date, a lever that activates the time circuits, a pair of vents on the back that heats the vehicle, that heats the vehicle after it travels through time, a plutonium chamber, so a plutonium chamber that serves as its original power source before being replaced by Mr. Fusion, and a wormhole emitter on the roof that helps the car travel through time via wormholes. Doc had also built a special remote that can control the car, although it was only used once. After it ended up in 1955, the DeLorean received a few additional equipment, an alarm clock, an alarm clock that 1955 put in its dashboard to signal Marty when it's time to speed towards the clock tower, and a hooked pole used to channel a lightning strike into the flux capacitor. After the DeLorean disappears to 1985, the pole remained behind in 1955. In 2015, the DeLorean was given the ability to fly along with a barcode license plate uh, to replace its old one. Uh, in the third film after Marty and the 1955 Doc recovered the DeLorean from the mines, a vacuum tube circuit was installed on the front hood to restore its time traveling ability. So to restore its time traveling ability. So time traveling ability. 1955 Doc also replaced the rotted away tires with white walls, which I think they're just cool. White wall tires are just awesome. Once in 1885, the DeLorean had one final set of modifications. The tires were again replaced with train wheels, so both train wheels and a boiler temperature gauge that's connected to the stolen locomotives. So locomotive's boiler is installed in the dashboard. All right, now we've got the fictional timeline. It's a fictional timeline. For most of the first film, the 1.21 gigawatts are supplied by a plutonium-powered nuclear uh, fission reactor, and with the absence of plutonium, a bolt of lightning channeled directly into the flux capacitor by a long pole and hook in the film's climatic sequence. At the end of the first film, and for the remainder of the trilogy, the plutonium nuclear reactor is replaced by a Mr. Fusion home energy reactor generator, possibly acquired in 2015. The Mr. Fusion device apparently converts household waste into electrical power. The name suggests nuclear fusion. Due to a hover conversion made in 2015, the car also becomes capable of both hovering and flight, though it lost this ability at the end of the second film. And now we got history. After acquiring the DeLorean and modifying it into a time machine, Doc brings it to the Twin Pines Mall. Twin Pines Mall. Later it became Long Pines Mall. Tests it out by using a remote control to send it 1 minute into the future with his dog Einstein in it. He also shows Marty the major functions of the DeLorean, the flux capacitor, the time circuits, and the plutonium chamber that powers them. After refueling the DeLorean with plutonium stolen from Libyan terrorists, who previously stole the plutonium from a power plant, Doc prepares to travel into the future, but the Libyans unexpectedly arrive and shot Doc. But thank God Doc was alive because he had a bulletproof vest because Marty sent him the letter, which I might get to in a little while, probably. I don't know. So yeah, shot Doc. Marty uses the DeLorean to flee from the Libyans and is transported to 1955 after accidentally activating the time circuits, but without the needed plutonium to return to 1985. The DeLorean exhibits problems with the starter and with its plutonium chamber empty. Marty hides the DeLorean behind a road sign and contacts the Doc Brown living in 1955. The two bring it into Brown's workshop. So Brown's workshop, or I call it garage. Unable to obtain plutonium, Doc and Marty realize from a fundraising flyer given to Marty earlier in the film. That was when he was in 1985, before the DeLorean was even shown to him, that the only source for the power needed to return the DeLorean to 1985 is a bolt of lightning that they know from history will strike Hill Valley's courthouse's clock tower at 10:04 p.m. on the coming Saturday, November 12th, 1955. Doc installs a cable leading from the top of the clock down to the street to harness the lightning, and attaches a long pole and hook to the DeLorean to channel the energy into the flux capacitor once the hook makes contact with the cable while the DeLorean is accelerating at 88 miles an hour. Despite setback involving the cable being disconnected by a fallen branch and the DeLorean having starter problems again, the plan succeeds, and Marty returns home, arriving 11 minutes before he left 1985 to warn Doc of his upcoming death. Since 1955, Doc wouldn't listen out of fear of changing history. With the DeLorean once again having issues with the starter, Marty is forced to run to the Twin Pines Mall, now called the Lone Pines Mall. Sorry if I didn't say it right for the first time, but I apologize. So, Lone Pines Mall, due to his actions in 1955. He's too late as Doc is gunned down while his other self escapes to 1955, leaving the Libyans to crash into a photo booth. But it's revealed that Doc wore a bulletproof vest and had listened to Marty's warning after all. After returning Marty home, Doc travels with Einstein to October 21st, 2015, where he upgrades the DeLorean with 2015 technology, replacing the plutonium chamber with a Mr. Fusion reactor and giving it the ability to fly. In the second film, he returns to 1985 to pick up both Marty and Jennifer, telling them that they have to rectify a problem caused in the future when Marty's son commits a crime. While there, the DeLorean is stolen by Biff Tannen, so it was old Biff, not young Biff, who discovers. While there, the DeLorean is stolen by Biff Tannen, who discovers that it's a time machine, and uses it to travel back to November 12th, 1955, the same day as the climax of the first film, to give his past self, so his younger self, a sports almanac so that the young Biff uses to accumulate wealth from gambling. Biff returns the DeLorean to 2015 without Marty or Doc discovering his use of it until they return to 1985, which is the alternate 1985. So it's not the 1985 that they were really expecting at that point in time. Oh, sorry. So they realized it, so they didn't know until they found Biff's cane in the car, in the DeLorean, with the bag which had the sports almanac into it. Biff returns the DeLorean to 2015 without Marty or Doc discovering is use of it until they return to 1985, which, due to Biff's manipulation of history, has been transformed into a post-apocalyptic alternate timeline I can't even talk, in which Biff is both a wealthy casino boss and crime lord. Discovering from that this was caused by older Biff's use of the DeLorean and the Almanac, Marty and Doc return to 1955 to prevent the younger Biff from acquiring it, thus restoring the original timeline. They manage to take back and destroy the Almanac, but the DeLorean with Doc inside it is struck by lightning again, this time by accident. And due to a malfunction in the time circuits, and disappears. Unbeknownst to Marty, Doc is transported to January 1st, 1885. Both the DeLorean's time circuits and flying capability are disabled in the process, though not the internal combustion engine. Thank God for that. Because suitable replacement parts to repair the DeLorean will not be invented until 1947, 2 years after the Second World War, Doc hides the DeLorean in the abandoned Delgado mine adjacent to the old Boot Hill Cemetery, which is shown on the enclosed map. So the DeLorean in the abandoned Delgado mine adjacent to the old Boot Hill Cemetery, again shown on the enclosed map, and leaves a letter to be delivered to Marty by Western Union in 1955, in which he explains what happened to him. Doc states he's happy in his new life there as a blacksmith, and requests that Marty not attempt to retrieve him. In other words, to not get him back, but instead to return to 1985 and destroy the DeLorean, believing that it had brought them and the world nothing but disaster. However, Marty in 1955 Doc learned that just 9 months after arriving in 1885, Doc will be murdered by Biff's great-grandfather. So Biff's great-grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen, which in the movie he hates that name, on September 7th, 1885. For this reason, the 1955 Doc and Marty agreed to have Marty travel back in time to 1885 to prevent Doc's murder. After retrieving the DeLorean from the mine, repairing its time travel ability, and replacing its since disintegrated tires with white walls, although they could not restore its flight systems. Marty travels to 1885, but the DeLorean's fuel line is damaged soon after he arrives there. After encountering his ancestors, Marty decides to use the alias Clint Eastwood. That's right, Clint Eastwood. After meeting up with the 1885 Doc, the Doc from 1885, the fuel line is repaired, but their experiments recreating modern fuel from whiskey destroys the fuel injection manifold, leaving the car unable to travel under its own power. After trying a few ideas, such as pulling it with horses, they resolved to using a steam locomotive to push the DeLorean up to 88 miles an hour. They learned that in order for the locomotive to reach 88 miles an hour, the run would have to be on a flat, straight track, with no cars coupled behind it and with the boiler's temperature risen to dangerous levels. Doc replaces the 1955 style wheels with cast iron train wheels. That fit on the track rails. Doc and Marty plan to make their run on a flat, straight section of track leading to an unfinished bridge over Shonash Ravine. While making their plans, Doc saves a school teacher, Clara Clayton, from falling into Shonash Ravine. They realize in the original timeline, Clara fell to her death in the ravine, which was renamed Clayton Ravine. After her rescue, Doc and Clara begin to fall in love. Marty and Doc continue their plan, in which the Mr. Fusion unit will provide the power required to activate the flux capacitor and make the jump through time once the stolen locomotive and the DeLorean reach 88 miles an hour. Their plan is successful, and upon reaching the end of the track, the DeLorean disappears to 1985 with Marty, though Doc decides to stay behind with Clara since Mad Dog Tannen is arrested for a stagecoach robbery, so robbing the Pine City stage, and Doc's murder is prevented. Thank God Doc was alive. The locomotive falls down the cliff. back in 1985, the DeLorean arrives on the now completed bridge and crosses over the ravine, now called Eastwood Ravine, on account of his exploits. In 1885, the DeLorean becomes stuck on the tracks. And Marty barely manages to escape before the DeLorean is completely destroyed by a freight train. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but it's spelled FREIGHT. Freight train, I think. I'm not too sure. So yeah, the DeLorean time machine becomes stuck on the tracks, and Marty barely manages to escape before the DeLorean is completely destroyed by a freight train. Later, Doc, Clara, and their children, Jules and Vern, appear in the same location where the DeLorean is destroyed, piloting a new time machine in the form of a steam-powered train, which had ELB written on the side, which is Dr. Emmett L. Brown's initials, the same initials that it showed on the wooden fence in, like, I think it was in the mine when they were digging out the DeLorean from the mine. So later, Doc, Clara, and their children, Jules and Vern, appear in the same location where the DeLorean was destroyed, piloting a new time machine in the form of a steam-powered train. After picking up Einstein, the couple and their children depart for an unknown time period. So we got no idea where they are at. Alright guys, so I think I'm gonna end it there. So for my next Back to the Future video, will be about the other elements of the car. I just can't really do all because it's just too much information for me to read out to you guys, and it's just gonna take forever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end it there for my next part, because I figured I'll do one final part of the Back to the Future video, because Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, I want to do it in order what the movie was, like from the first one all the way up to the third one, which was the final one. But I'm hearing rumors saying that the fourth one might be made. God knows, like, if it will be made or not, but we got no idea, like, if it will. But if it will be made, then might be a possibility, like a chance, it's a possibility that they're gonna have new characters for both Marty and Doc. Not sure when, but at some point we'll try and find out if it will happen or not. But, well, one way to see. So yeah, so for my next video will be about the other elements of the car. So I'll show you real quick. This is the next part I'll be on. So, show you again. This is what I'll be on for my next video. And so yeah, so that'll be it. If you guys like this video, like it, subscribe, say like it, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted when I make new uploads. And so yeah, so that'll be it. I will see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Say, take care, folks. Say, take care, folks. Stay safe out there, and always support and look out for each other. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Take care, folks. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.